Hello everybody, you're watching Robot Rallis. I've been gone for a few days. I had a interesting event last weekend, and then I had two videos that ended up getting ruined either by software issues or some other thing, so I've been out for a little while. But now we're back and we're going to be doing a modern cube draft. I haven't looked at the list of cards, haven't really looked at much of anything. But I do know a lot of the cards in Modern, and I kind of understand the general idea of what it is. It's going to be not too dissimilar from Vintage Cube Draft, except well, obviously without power, a little bit less emphasis on spell-based strategies, more focus on modern playable stuff like that. And also, you're not going to have some of the Eternal format stuff that was present in Vintage, obviously, because it wouldn't be legal in Modern. At least I would assume. But you never know, we'll find out. And before we jump into this draft, you can actually find my first article on hipstersofthecoast.com. It is a top 10 of cards inside the format that you want to play, but do not want to play against. It isn't necessarily in order of how powerful they are, just a 10 cards that came to mind when I was making the list. Hipsters of the Coast is sponsored by Card Kingdom, and you can find some pretty interesting articles up on their website. Now, look at what we have here. We have a Consecrated Sphinx, which is quite strong. The Elder Dragon War, which is also, I think, pretty solid. We also have a Rabble Master. Nexus of Fate. Chandra. Well, to be honest, I don't know how prevalent the ramp is in this format. I don't see any of it here except rampant growth. I don't really think rampant growth is the kind of ramp I'm looking for, but it is okay. I'm inclined to take the Consecrated Sphinx because it's the only blue card. A lot of other people battle over all this red stuff. And, yeah, just a lot of red in this pack. Just a million red cards. Then maybe we can get back the RAF and try something there. Alright, so we see a Jace, and Jace is quite strong, as you can imagine. Perhaps slightly less strong than it would be in Vintage Cube, thanks to the presence of so many more creatures. Like, this is a lot more creature-based format, as you can see. We have cards like Blood-Soaked Champion, which is definitely not a card that I think would see much play in Vintage. The Cube, anyway. There's also a Lyra, which is obviously powerful. But, yeah, I think we're just going to take a Jace here. Two solid cards, a lot of great card draw and stuff like that. Now we have a Spire Bluff Canal, a Marsh Flats, a Make Disappear, which I don't think is good, and a Blink of an Eye. Also have some black stuff here. Well, I mean, if they're just going to keep passing us good blue cards, we'll just keep taking them. I do like Blink of an Eye a lot. Now there's a Wandering Fumarole and a Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower is quite strong. I was being a little bit disappointed with it sometimes in Vintage Cube, but I can't imagine it's even remotely disappointing here. Like, creatures are just better in this format than they were in that one. Yeah, we'll try it. Only other thing I could see is, like, conscripts. Try to wheel a Fumarole. Yeah, maybe that is just better. Yeah, we'll try it. Flame Slash, solid. Looter, Remove Soul. I think Remove Soul is actually pretty solid in this format. It's also a Hostage Taker, though. That's pretty strong. I would play the Hostage Taker. I would play Remove Soul, I'd play Looter, and I'd play Flame Slash if we end up in red. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Hostage Taker for sure. It's definitely powerful. So it's between that and Flame Slash for me right now. Remove Soul in third place, Looter in fourth. Then like a Glacial Chasm after that. I think I'm just going to take Flame Slash. Well, it's a little disappointing to see Go for the Throat and Graveyard Trespasser and Nimble Obstructionist and Darkslick Shores here when we went with the red card. But here I think we're supposed to take the Nimble Obstructionist or the Go for the Throat, or the Dark Slick Shores. Don't think I'm taking the Graveyard Trespasser pretty much no matter what. I think I'll take the Shores. I mean, Nimble Obstruction is just solid, but yeah, I think I just like that a lot better. There's an Urza and there's a Sulphur Falls. Well, I think both of these cards are quite good. If we're playing blue-red, we kind of need the Sulphur Falls. Urza's just a great card, but Sulphur Falls makes sure that we can actually cast our spells. Vision? Yeah, I'll play Vision. Have a little bit more time in this format to actually cast it. Pretty happy about that. Well, Prismari Command is actually not awful. Shock something, make a treasure token is not bad. It's just not especially efficient. I'm going to take it. I think it's fine. Especially in this format, there's just going to be a lot of stuff with 2 toughness that you don't mind getting rid of. Now, between Whirler Rogue and Creeping Tar Pit, I actually think it is better for us to have the Creeping Tar Pit. I'd probably take the Carnarium, but I think I'm more interested in the Manland. Yeah. Make Disappear or Inquisition or Collective Defiance. So Collective Defiance is a removal spell bare minimum. You can also ping Planeswalkers, but I think we're just going to take the Inquisition. It's possible our mana's just good enough to make this work. Brazen Borrower or Hullbreaker Horror. Well, I don't hate this card, but I think it's very expensive. We're just going to take the Borrower. Seems like blue is definitely open here. Then we're kind of trying to backdoor our way into maybe Twin. We have some pretty solid red cards. Looter or Remove Soul. To be honest, I think Remove Soul is going to be better in this format than it would be otherwise. There's a lot of strong creatures and I do like counterspells. And this would be our first one. Negate, I don't really think I'm main decking this card. We'll see. Force, I'll take Force. We have enough blue cards to make that okay. So regular Negate is kind of medium, but like that Negate in particular is quite strong. It being free really puts it far above. It's like nowhere near chaff, you know. I don't think Teferi is really what I'm looking for. I think it is strong. I don't know how strong. It does go up to 4, and then on their turn it can go up to 5. We just have to find a way to protect it. But we already have a Planeswalker and a lot of stuff to hide behind instant speed. I think Venser is probably better for us. Either Venser or Karizev. I think it's just Venser. I'd consider Polluted Delta, but we don't have anything we can fetch with it. So I'll just take a Venser here. Okay. Now we're looking at... No. Trying to move some stuff. Okay, there we go. Fire Ice is actually pretty solid. I don't really think Frost Titan's what I'm looking for. Yawgmoth is strong. Power Word Kill is just a slightly more annoying to use Infernal Grasp, especially in Cube where like Angels, Demons, Devils, and Dragons are actually more common than they would usually be. I don't really think it's Battlesphere or Bombardment. Maybe Obnixilis? No, that's not good enough. I think it's just Fire Ice. I think Fire Ice is strong enough. Chandra, what does this one do again? I always forget. Add a mana, deal 1, exile the top card, and then the alt's at 7. It's very, very far away. I just imagine this card being absolutely miserable on the draw. Whereas I'm looking more for something like, even like Eidolon or Treasure Map. But to be honest, I'm not like super duper enthused about those cards. I think it's either Drown in the Lock or Fatal Push. This does count on my opponent having things inside their graveyard. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. I think we'll just take a Fatal Push and try and wheel that. Now there's a Drowned Catacomb, a Glorybringer, and a Phantasmal Image. I like both of these cards a lot. I like them a lot in this format specifically. And I do think that Phantasmal Image is pretty solid. If I have to choose, there's also Search for Escanta, which is definitely not weak. I think it's Glorybringer. I think Glorybringer is just busted. Den of the Bugbear, Hall of Storm Giants, Keranos? Well, it's definitely a way to win the game. It's just very slow. I think Jace might just be better. Yeah, a nice early play gets us further into the deck. Looking to wheel one of those two lands. Remand is fine. Ledger Shredder. I want to say this card is good, but I don't know if it's really good in this format specifically. Also, Stonecoil Serpent. This card is just great. Like it just does a lot of stuff. Good at any point in the curve, has reach, has protection from multicolored, has trample. It attacks well, it blocks well, just good. Magma Opus. I don't know if this is good. It looks very expensive, and I don't really know how often I'm going to be getting 8 mana. I think I'm more interested in Sower of Temptation or Neutralize. And to be honest, we're pretty low on counter magic as it is, so I think Neutralize is fine. Sower is just okay, I think. Though it's probably a little bit better in this format than it was in the last one, and it was playable in the last one. Yeah, we already have some 4s. We'll just take this. Well, Counterspell's definitely what we're going to take here. We would probably play the Dragon Skull Summit, but at this point, I don't even know if we're playing black, and Counterspell's just good on its own. Thought Scour, Polluted Delta. Well, we will take a Polluted Delta. Infernal Grasp or Power Word Kill. Yeah, we have a pretty good amount of stuff to do. Drown in the Lock comes back, okay. Drown Catacomb comes back. Languish or Keranos. Well, Languish is kind of a board wipe. We don't have one of those yet. Yeah, I'm not opposed. Did I take it? No, I tried to reserve it, but I got that instead. Okay, well, we're not playing Doom Whisperer. We'll just put it on the sideboard. I guess we have Keranos. Kind of unfortunate. I really wanted the Languish there, but I guess I wasn't fast enough. I'll have to rewatch the video on that one. Yeah, I'm liking how this is looking so far. Don't really have nearly, well, okay, well, you know, between Damnation and Languish, I guess I do prefer Damnation. So, that's nice. Well, Archmage's Charm is actually not bad for us. Like, all of our lands are blue. Every single one. So, that's nice. There's also a Putrid Goblin? Wow. Must be some kind of combo stuff in this thing. Wow, this is kind of a bad pack for us, huh? We have Yorion. What does that do for us? Return someone end step, right? Yep, end step. Okay, well, yeah, to be honest, I don't really think any of these cards are what we're looking for. I think we're just taking the Archmage's Charm as a playable. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Subtlety. That's not bad. Time Warp. Serum Visions. Like a land here, but we don't have any of those. Subtlety is fine. It's either Subtlety or Visions. I think Visions is slightly more important. Yeah. Memory Deluge, Dungeon Geists, Fading Hope, Braids. Braids is certainly not weak. It's pretty strong, but I don't really know if it's what we're looking for. What kind of removal do we have? We have Fatal Push, Flame Slash, Blink of an Eye, Remove Soul, Counterspell, Infernal Grasp, Drown, Prismari Command, Neutralize, Archmage's Charm, Damnation. Well, when you put it that way, we actually have a pretty solid amount of removal. I wouldn't mind Dungeon Geists. It's not exactly what this deck is looking to do. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. Like, this is Dismember or Dungeon Geists if I've ever seen a pick between those two cards. I don't really know which one I'm looking for here. I guess Dismember? Nah, Geists. We can actually end a game with Geists. We have plenty of removal. Well, Dalthy Voidwalker's quite strong. There's also a Scarab God, and Scarab God is definitely a way to win the game. Very powerful. Not very difficult to make work. Also a Glenelender Archmage and a Dalthy Voidwalker. Both extremely powerful cards. Voidwalker is a little bit tough to cast, but we have some good fixing lands already. And we already have a pretty solid number of threats on the high end. I think it's either Voidwalker or the Glenelender, and I'm leaning towards the Voidwalker. Baral, Geralf's Messenger, or... nothing? We're not playing any of these other cards, are we? Not playing Messenger, we're not playing Carrion Feeder. Can't splash any of this other stuff. Well, actually, we could play Kess. Is Kess good? Is Kess good? Yeah. Kess is actually solid. Sure. We'll try Kess. Didn't think about it, but yeah, we do have the ability to play that card. So we will. Well, there's an Abrade. There's also a Vendilion Click. I think we are kind of... we're not super duper full on 3, but we're kind of full. I think it's Opt. It's either Opt or Abrade. And I think I'm a little bit more likely to play the Opt. Doesn't even really look like we're that heavy red. We have the Prismari Command, which needs red anyway. Some stuff to get through our deck. Yeah, we'll just take an Opt. I think we have enough flash 3-power things. Well, between Kaito and Inferno Titan, I'm having a hard time choosing. There's also a Ketria Triome, which is a blue-red land. Are we okay on playables? Yeah, actually we are, so I think it might just be the Triome. I don't really know if either of these cards is what we want instead of Triome. Yeah, we'll just take a Triome. Soul Herder is quite strong, but I'm more interested in Profane Command, Lier, Ashiok, or Refractor Fiction. We already have an okay amount of card draw and card selection here. Maybe the correct answer is just Lier, Ashiok, or Profane Command? Yeah, we'll take an Ashiok. We'll try it out. I haven't really played that card too extensively. We're not playing really any of these, so I guess we'll take the Yorion on the off chance that it makes the deck. Subtlety. Definitely play that over Time Warp right now. Memory Deluge. Okay. Yeah. Some cards we're not going to play. Guess the one we want to see the least is Finale. I don't think we're playing any of these. I don't think any of these are going to get played against us, so... Click. Well, that might actually make it. Murktide. I don't think Murktide makes it. Only have one fetch. We do have some spells, though. Okay, so we didn't really get their only twin plan. And as far as our deck goes, we have not too many great reasons to play red. We have the Kess, We have the Prismari command, and we have the Fire Ice that we're pretty happy to play. Not even the Prismari command that much. We have the Glorybringer, which I think is just okay. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. Now we have 1, 2, 3 red sources without playing any mountains, but we're probably still going to play 1, so we have path immunity. Let's see. 2. Add 19. How many black sources do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And for blue sources, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, yeah. So, not too many basic islands, but I think that's still fine because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blue sources. Doesn't seem awful for the Archmage's Charm. Then for red sources, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, not counting all the ways we have to loot through the deck. And that's just for 1 Kess and the backside of Fire Ice. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now we just need to cut a few cards out of here, and then we can ship it. Well, of these 4s, I think Dungeon Geists is kind of the worst one. It is a way to win the game, but it's also a creature that we don't want to get removed, and it's also one of the most likely to get removed. Drown in the Lock might be our worst removal spell. And then what now? Maybe we can cut the Kess if we think it's a little bit greedy, which I think it kind of is, but I don't think it's going to burn a hole in our pocket. Like, we have Jace to loot it away, we have Opt and Serum Visions to scry to the bottom. Can we Vendilion Click ourselves? Yeah, we can even click ourselves. Like, it's a lot of options here. We can Jace it away, and then fetch. Just have a lot of ways to not make it as annoying. Is it Neutralize? Don't really think Neutralize is going to be like a giant overperformer. It's just okay. Yeah, I think we'll run it just like this. 8 creatures, 15 other. Pretty controlling. We have a lot of ways to interact, a board wipe, just a lot of ways to do stuff. And then we have a lot of different things we can board in. We can go more controlling, board in Brawl, negate, subtlety, neutralize, stuff like that. Yeah, I like this. And there's even a Doom Whisper if we think we need that, which I don't really think we do. I think that card's just okay. Oh yeah, this seems nice. Well, I will give a nod to Arena here. Although the formats can sometimes be much more boring, you definitely do get your opponents much faster. Okay, well, we have found ourselves a match, but unfortunately we are on the draw again. The last 5 matches in a row that I've played have been on the draw. Not super duper happy about it. We have a Dark Slick Shores, we have an island, we have a pair of swamps, and a Serum Visions. I'm going to keep it. Not exactly the most exciting hand in the world, but kind of leaning on the Serum Visions a little bit, aren't we? That's okay. Well, I do like to see Clifftop retreat turn 1. Okay. Ancestral and Jace Ashiok, huh? Well, we can cast both of these cards. The problem is they don't do anything. We already have some stuff we want to do. We need better cards than those. Okay. Well, red-white is definitely not a matchup I feel great about. But it looks like that might be Mardu. Tide Hollow? No, Odonto Vanguard. Well, that's a pretty problematic card for me, to be honest. Yeah. Don't really have a great answer for that. We're just going to do this and suspend this. They're going to definitely hit me for a lot with this thing. And they're also in prime removal colors. All three of those colors are renowned for their removal. So it's possible that we're just kind of already dead and we don't even know it. Of course, now we have to wait for our opponent to do things. Didn't really want to draw a fifth land, but that's where we're at. Our opponent is taking 2.5 minutes on land Odonto Vanguard. Not really the most complex play, but we'll see if they come back. Alright, we do get there. Oh, nope, now we're just on end step, okay. I mean, you can't really, like, rope people on Moto. You can do it on Arena, but not really here. It just, I want to say after 5 minutes without a response, it just times you out. But I could be wrong. In the meantime, we just play the waiting game. Okay, we are on their turn. They have 21 minutes left. Kroxa. Well, that's pretty easy for us. We're just going to discard a basic swamp. Although there's an argument for discarding Kess. I think swamp is... well, actually we'll discard Kess. Whatever. Yeah. We take 3 if we don't discard Kess, and we can't even cast it, so I'm not really worried about it. I would hate to draw another land here. Unfortunately, we don't just draw a land. We draw a land that would have let us cast Kess. So we're on 7 lands here. Our opponent's still on the wait plan. Okay, well, I mean... alright, they're at 20 minutes and some change. So far this first game is in their hands firmly. They hit us for another 3 here, not really what I'm excited about. But it's okay. Yep. What else? Surely they have something. A knight. Well, that's not very good for me. Okay, well. This Ancestral Vision is going... oh my god. Well... the question is, are we going to activate the Creeping Tar Pit when they attack? I think the answer is yes, and we're going to try and block the knight. Maybe they just don't know what Creeping Tar Pit does. It is a 3/2, so they can just pump in response if they have the mana. So we need them to both miss on mana and not have some kind of way to interact. Two time counters. Still have 1,000,000 miles to go there, huh? Okay, so them attacking not with the knight means that they do not have a trick. Okay, fine by me. That has to have me lose 4 life so they don't get a counter. Of course, this Odonto Vanguard might just go coast to coast if I draw 9 lands in a row. basically. Alright, what we got? Sulphur Falls. Classic. Okay, well, I mean, sometimes you draw 3 spells and 9 lands. Not really much I can do about that. Next turn, we get an ancestral that will hopefully not draw us 3 additional lands to put us up to 13, but it's not really certain. Also, our opponent has wasted 6 minutes doing basically nothing. No, 7 minutes doing basically nothing. So there is a possibility that we might be able to get a time victory here if our opponent does not play concisely in the next couple matches. If we even make it to game 3, of course. Now, yeah, this hand was a little bit greedy to keep, but, like, I mean, we can't really foresee this happening. Turns out that the cards that I bottomed would have actually been pretty good against them doing nothing for a million turns. But, hey, what can you do? Okay. Just attack for 3 is still fine with me. Alright, so now it looks like they might have something. But little do they know I don't really care about my lands here. Perfectly fine trading away for one of the cards in their hand, because I need whatever I have next turn to stabilize me potentially. So I'm perfectly fine having my Creeping Tar Pit die. I mean, I have to imagine they had an answer for Kess and they just didn't cast it because I didn't have a Kess in play. Okay, well, I mean, now they're at 16 minutes and 55 seconds. So at this point they've used 8 minutes on this game. Alright, well, we're going to activate for sure. Blue. Blue. And see what they have to blow me out with. Really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with this block. Well, that's peculiar. Nothing? Okay. Goes to exile and I cast it, right? It's so wonky how this works. Can I not, like, view it? What's... This UI is not very fun. Alright, well, they're at 16 minutes now. They've been running down this clock for a hot minute now. They have about 8 minutes apiece for these games. We're going to choose me. Please, I would love to draw 3 cards. Them not killing my Creeping Tar Pit there is actually way better for me than I could possibly state. So we're going to cast a Dauthi Voidwalker. And we're just going to pass here, and we're probably going to Venser that back to their hand. So I get the trigger even if they kill it. Now they have 9 cards on hand. They might be going to discard here. And if they discard, then I actually get value out of my Delphi Voidwalker. Wow. Lingering Souls? Well, I think that's probably a little bit better than what I have going on. Even so, I don't think I'm supposed to do anything here. I think I'm supposed to hold up the Archmage. Or are we supposed to just play out a Consecrated Sphinx? Yeah, I think we're supposed to just play out the Consecrated Sphinx. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we just hit them with a Voidwalker. And hold back the Venser if they have some kind of way to interact with my conscripts, my Consecrated Sphinx rather. I don't want to take an additional 3 from the Vanguard. And we will be drawing another 2 cards here if they let it live until their draw step. Alright, so we will draw 2 cards. I don't know what they have in their hand, but... yes, please. Alright, those are some good ones. We're going to definitely click them. See what's going on over there. Although they might just concede. I don't know. Like, it's still definitely a game. I mean, we still have, like, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lands here. It's pretty solidly more than half of our lands are in our hand or on the battlefield. At this stage, we have to start thinking about whether or not we're going to draw extra cards with Sphinx in a couple turns. Like, we actually almost deck before they die, if we do that. So the reason I didn't use Lingering Souls there is because, I believe when I... what? What? What did they... what? What happened? I missed something. What happened? What? Oh. Okay. Sure. I mean, we are going to block. What was that, a 5 for 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, it's a... I don't even know how many that was for 1, but... yeah, that's fine with me. Now the damage race is almost in my favor. Yikes. Well, I got to admit, them taking up half of their clock to possibly lose this game does not bode well for the rest of the match. I know this hasn't really been the most exciting for you, the viewer, but I mean, I wanted you to see it all, and here it is, in its barren glory. What is this? Evolve Sleeper. Okay. Well, I can just take that if they ever try to level it up or anything. Gain control of a permanent with mana value 1 or less. Yeah, that's pretty strong. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can Archmage's Charm and Vendilion Click. Yeah, we're going to attack. Don't really see any reason not to. Lingering Souls they can flash back if I cast it, right? Yep. They go to 10. We're going to... on their draw step, I think we're going to click them. We also have Infernal Grasp. If for some reason we think this plan isn't going to go well, we are going to click you, sorry opponent. What you got? Sword, Gold Span Dragon, Karn liberated. Well, no? Yeah, you can keep it. That is always disappointing to see, I have to imagine. Do we care about this? Yeah, I think we do. I guess we are going to force. Blue. And then do we just kill the Evolve Sleeper? Maybe. Go to 3 if we do that. Or we can just block it. So here's the thing. If they pay 4 here, they're dead. So they can't actually pay 4. This is just a kill spell. Okay, so we win. We are at 6. We take 1, 2, 3, 4. We go to 2. Yep, okay, cool. Well, that was certainly a game. Yeah. What do we do? I think we're gonna... I think we take out the Ancestral, bring in the Prismari command. We're gonna bring in the Baral, because I think it's pretty solid against like 2/1s and stuff. I think there's a good chance they have some of those. Maybe take out the Force of Negation. Might have been one of the worst cards on our deck, but it also is a way to break parity when we've already tapped out for something. It's also Subtlety. Subtlety's free, I like it. Kess I don't think was very good. Jace I don't think was very good. Conscript's Glorybringer? Glorybringer might be okay. We're going to add 1 mountain in as well, because we added in some red stuff. We're going to take out a card that's not very good, and I have to imagine... No, we don't want Weather. We want to take out... Oh, Stonecoil's good. Stonecoil is solid. Brazen Borrower? Nah, Vendilion Click. I think Vendilion Click is by far one of the worst cards in the deck for this matchup. Just blocks nothing profitably at all. Did we take a land out? No, we have 18 lands, so what are we taking out? Blue Source? It's not the worst, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. The Archmage's Charm is a little bit annoying, but I don't think I'm too concerned about it. I don't think it's the greediest ever. It's not like we have to play the card on turn 3 anyway. It's a counterspell or a draw 2 or a gain control of something. Perfectly happy casting that on turn 5 or 8 or whenever. Of course I don't want it in my opener, but you know, whatever. A lot of cards I don't want in my opener. Okay, we have okay enough mana. Remove Soul, Stonecoil Serpent, and an Ashiok that's going down way later than I'd like. To be honest, the counterspell is a bit of a mull, but I think we're going to keep it off the strength of having good mana. Otherwise, worth noting, the land hate in this version of the cube, I have to imagine, is more banal than strip mine and stuff, you know? No great land destruction. Right, well, our opponent's on the pause plan on turn 0, so we're going to give it a stop ourselves. So they say that screw beats flood, but my opponent was screwed there, and I was flooded there, and I won that game pretty handily, to be honest. It was kind of down to the wire, but, like, I had plenty of stuff. Like, I was never really in a super big bit of danger at the end. I just had to decide what I did and didn't want to block with and stuff. We had more stuff in hand. We had lots of options. And as far as the second game goes, my opponent's at 9 minutes and 25 seconds about here. Pretty difficult for me to imagine that they're going to find a way to finish both of these games in that amount of time. Especially when we have good stuff to do here. Well, no turn 1 play is fine by me. Just gonna play an island and pass turn. Probably should have played the mountain, put the Fear of God into him, you know? Odonto Vanguard? Wow. Fair enough, I guess, you know? Okay, well, we'll just play out a mountain, pass turn. Oh well. Should have played out the island for counterspell, clearly. Pretty big mistake. They could play a Planeswalker here and I'm just kind of dead. Like, straight up huge mistake there. Might actually cost me the game. Hopefully they just play some stupid 3-mana creature that I can counter and I'm not punished. I'd like to play out the Stone Coil as a 4/4. That'd be ideal for me. But my opponent could also just take another 1 minute thinking about it, and that would be fine for me as well. Every additional second that they spend doing nothing is one less second that they have to actually play the game. Okay. Yeah, they can deal me some damage here. Nothing. Alright, well, I'm fine with them doing nothing. Now we have Prismari Command, which we might actually be using to pitch something here. Don't know. Draws 2, then discard. Okay, so we don't actually have to choose until we've already drawn. It's pretty good. We might also just make a treasure. I guess it depends on what my opponent does. If they play something that just straight up dies to Prismari Command, then I'm not really worried about it. Like, Odonto Vanguard is a strong card and all, but make no mistake, paying 4 life is a real cost. Like, they've hit me for 6 with these 2 attacks, but if they wanted to save it, they'd be going to 16, which is only 2 higher than me. Definitely not free. Well, Kalidas is a strong card and all, but not really interested in having that thing stick around. No thanks. Well, Archmage's Charm might be a card that's on the chopping block here. We'll just go ahead and pass turn for now. Take another 3. Not too worried about it right now. This is a turn where I'd really like the opportunity to use Prismari Command. That would be ideal. I'd like to make a treasure and also ping something. Yeah, we're just gonna loot here. Pretty happy with that. Yeah. I'll loot. Make a treasure token. I mean, whatever they want to do here is fine by me. Yeah, we'll discard the Schwamps. Keep our treasure. Draw Serum Visions. This might be Stone Coil. Yeah, we'll play the Stone Coil. We still have mana for the Serum Visions. Alright, what's this? Cast out. Well, not super duper excited about that one. We are going to try and counter it here. Okay. What's the next one? Was this Elspeth Conquers Death? Yeah, that's not going to do anything. Yeah, it's CMC 0, my friend. Well, no attacks. Alright, sure. Sadly, this does not have Vigilance. Turn target creature or planeswalker, and they get a big bonus to that next turn. Okay, so I can just bounce this. That is one thing I can do. Or I can just play out the Ashiok. I'll just play out the Ashiok. They only have 2 cards in hand. They're going to get back a Kalitas. Not really concerned about that. Just going to make a 2/3. Pass turn. Now next turn we're going to probably bounce the Elspeth Conquers Death. Or no, we're going to bounce the Adonto Vanguard. Sure. Yeah, I mean, until my next turn, non-creature spells. Okay, yeah. Sun Titan gets back nothing. Okay. Not really concerned about that one. Okay, so we can play this at instant speed, and this at instant speed, and this too. So now we're just going to... Well, this does block exceptionally well, doesn't it? Well, that's a little annoying. Yeah, we'll do this. Bink. Please exile a card from your hand, my friend. Them getting back a Kalitas doesn't really bother me that much. Gilded Lotus. Okay. Yeah, no thanks. Pass turn. Okay. They get back a Kalitas. Not exactly the most exciting gameplay, but don't forget, they have to win this game in short order, and then the third game they have to also win. So, right now, it looks like the game is in my hands. They have 3 cards, I have 4 great cards. Feels like it's difficult for me to lose. Flayed Essence, life equal to the number of counters. Oh wow, that's a cool card. That is a cool card. This does return stuff that my opponent controls, which is a little unfortunate. So I think I'm supposed to counter this. Yeah. Please go away. Okay, well, them doing nothing is fine by me. Damnation. Well, certainly not weak, but I think I'm just going to create a token. And then I think we're going to Serum Visions. Yeah. Well, Force of Negation is a kind of medium counterspell. We'll put it on top and we'll put this on the bottom. Play out the Craving Tar Pit. Pass turn. We can Fatal Push as well as Brazen Bar or petty theft and feel pretty happy. And then this turn we have all kinds of stuff. Well, attacking with Kalidas is not going to go well for them. Do we just double block or triple block or something? Just petty theft it back to their hand. We don't really have to make too many decisions here. Just delay, stall. They play out the Kalidas again, that's fine with me. Kalidas comes back. Yeah, sure. Now we have the full power and toughness on the nightmare tokens on the Kalidas, and that does say of non-tokens, so I can actually block pretty well. They can sacrifice to put 2/1/1 counters on it, but that only brings it to 6 toughness. I don't really think I'm worried about that. I don't really have reason to do much of anything, to be honest, so. Yeah, we're just gonna pass. We have a million options here. We can turn on the revolt pretty easy if they try to like blow out some kind of double or triple block. Just have a lot of ways to do things. Rafine's tower cycle's fine by me. Been pretty happy with these lands, just generally nice. You never really want to pay 3 and cycle them, but it's nice that you have the option. What does this do? Tapped artifact or tapped creature or enchantment. Yeah, it doesn't really do much of anything. Sure. What it does do is die to Nahiri, or rather to Brazen Borrower. Okay. Now, do we just bounce the Kalidas and make them do the thing again? Yeah, I think we do. Legion War Boss. Well, that's a pretty good one. Nahiri. And then this one we'll send at your face. And then pass. The priority. They exile 6 cards. They can't really take a lot of those. They're going to actually be lower on cards at the end of this than me. Oof. There's a lot of hits in there, huh? Grave Titan, Boros Reckoner. Doesn't really even look like they have a plan. They just have a bunch of stuff. They are going to give Indestructible. Goes to 1. Yeah, not really sure how this goes poorly for me. I don't even think I really have reason to play a Liberal. We'll just pass. We have Force, Fatal Push, Ashiok, Creeping Tar Pit in the worst of times. Sure. They could discard a swamp, draw a card. Alright, what's this? Karn Liberated. It's definitely powerful, but we're going to bink that right out of the sky, please. Doesn't even win them the game necessarily, like. They're just in such a bad spot here. Alright, well, we'll just do this. Attack face. Sure. Alright, they go to 6. We just pass, hold up. I don't know, like what could they possibly have? Even board wipe doesn't do it because we have Creeping Tar Pit, as well as Ashiok still in the bank. Kalidas, sure. Doom Blade. Yeah, I mean that does get hit by Doom Blade, doesn't it? Yeah, they concede. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Alright, so that's the first match. Pretty anticlimactic. They took 20 minutes to play out 2 games that were... The first was much closer than it needed to be. In fact, they definitely deserved to win. They just didn't get there. The second game I was in complete control of. So, on to round 2, I guess. Pretty unfortunate. They have a top-notch bad beat story about the time that they drew 3 lands and like half their deck. Well, we lose the die roll yet again, and I don't know, maybe I pissed off one of the magic gods or something. We have turn 1 Serum Visions with removal spell backup, some other interaction. I think I'm supposed to keep it. Feels pretty okay. Not all upset. Well, don't really like to see that. We're going to keep the Catacomb. Well, actually, yeah, we're going to put the Catacomb on top. Put the Remove Soul on top. I like both of those cards. And I'd like to draw the Remove Soul first, because it has a better chance of getting a hit here. Well, Karizev is definitely annoying. So I think we have to take 3 from this now. And then at the end of the turn, if they don't play something worth countering, we're going to try and kill it with Infernal Grasp. Kinda sucks to take 5 from this thing, but... You know, it's just how it be sometimes. Yeah. What you got? Well, Chandra is actually pretty annoying for me to deal with, but we don't have any way to do anything about it. Yeah. We have to find a way to attack it or something? Pretty brutal. Sheesh. Okay, yeah. They deal some more damage to me. No 1-drop. Next turn could be pretty bad for me, though. Drawing Catacombs comes in on tap no matter what. I think I'm supposed to play out the Catacombs here, or... No, I'll take Polluted Delta. If we need to, we can crack it for a blue or a black. If we don't need to, we can just, you know... We can go get a, you know, the tap land. Goldspan Dragon. Well, that is a card. No thanks, my friend. Not really happy to see that one. Wow, that's a very strong turn 4 play. Gonna go get a Ketria Triumph. Looking pretty low in life total right now. So what we do have here is if they try to make mana, we have Venser. Interesting. Sure. Eidolon. Well, that's a bit annoying. Yeah, we're gonna try and bounce it. Not really looking for Eidolon to come into play. I would like that to stay in your hand. If you want to play it out again, that's fine with me. Next turn we can play out the Ashiok and then just bounce the Chandra. Lightning Strike. Yeah, I'm okay with Lightning Strike. That's fine. Although they do get some stuff if we let this live too much longer. Yeah, not very happy about that one. Okay. Make a thing, pass turn. Good news is this does block pretty well and attack pretty well into Chandra. The bad news is the Chandra might just be a little too big to deal with. Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, they were on the play. They had a turn 3 Planeswalker into a turn 4 Goldspan Dragon. A lot of stuff. And this can even hit Planeswalkers. Okay, pretty fun. Alright, well. Not really too worried about the Jaya right now. So if they just attack me, I attack back at the Chandra. Okay, yeah. Goblin Guide, Bomat Courier. Sure. They take damage. Sure. Can they even attack though? No. That's interesting. Well. We're going to attack the Chandra, because that decides what we have to do this turn. Or are we attacking the Chandra? No, I don't think we are. We're going to do this. This hit Planeswalkers? Target creature. Okay, no, it only hits creatures, so bounce that back to its owner's hand, then that player exiles a card from their hand. What you gonna exile? A mountain. Yeah, I guess I should have seen that one coming. What are we doing? Blink of an eye? Is that good enough? We have 5 mana. Yeah, I think we're supposed to... No, can they just do that with it? That's not very good. Yeah, I think we're going to bounce that and then do the other thing. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll let them take an additional 2 off of it first. We have okay card advantage, we just have to not die to what they have going on. Okay, yeah, they're going to take that. Then in response, we're going to blink of an eye. This back to their hand. And we're going to take some damage. And we're going to cast this. They can play out the thing again, fine by me. They get a monk, fine. Then an Eidolon. Okay. And nothing in hand. Okay, that's good for me. Now what? Counterspell. Yeah, we're just gonna make a token. Take some damage. Pass turn. So the thing is, they have really awful attacks here. They can attack and kill one of my creatures with the Jaya, but the problem is then I get to block and I have very good blocks. So they're in a position where they're forced to just plus. Or -1. Which neither of those are great for me, admittedly. Alright, so... Well, Bone Crusher Giant is not very fun for me to see. But we do get to counter one of those, I guess, with Counterspell if we want to. If we think it's good. They're going to take the Bone Crusher. Are they going to stomp? They're going to stomp there. Are we countering this? No? I don't think we are. Are we? I don't think so. I think we have to let it slide. Not very happy about it, but what's this? This seems like it's much worse for me. Oh, just Bone Crusher? Yeah, that's fine. I can kill the Jaya, but I go to 5 here. Not super excited about that. Look at their hand. What you got? Yeah, done. Alright, well, Kess is pretty cool. Kess we can at least cast here. We have pretty solid blocks set up. Well, actually, we just kill the Chandra now. Or Jaya, rather. None of those creatures have Secret Reach. We play this out. Don't really think there's a good argument for not doing so. Now we just have great blocks lined up and they have, well, a top deck. So hopefully it's nothing crazy. This is definitely still a game that's winnable for me. Very close game though. Whatever card they drew here, what is it? Squee. Yeah, I'm fine with Squee. Squee's just a 2/2, makes a 1/1. Their attacks are still not great. They can recast it next turn. We just have great blocks. Okay. So we just set up the most profitable blocks imaginable here. We have to double block the Bone Crusher and get it off the battlefield. Okay, they don't... The what? Oh no. That's awful for them. Okay, so what can I take? Eidolon is 3 or less. A little annoying. Just make another one of these. Then we can cast an instant or sorcery spell from the graveyard. We have... Well, we don't really have that many instants or sorceries we want to cast, do we? During each of my turns, huh? Yeah, the problem is I don't really want to cast any of those. Yeah... I think we have to just leave it like this, to be honest. We have 2 different counter spells for whatever craziness comes our way. Their attacks are worse this turn than they were last turn, because we have an additional 2 blockers. So, if they didn't attack last turn, I can't imagine they will this turn. Alright, we're not going to cast either of these cards. It's nice to have that, but I don't really think we're doing anything with it. Do we attack with the Vendilion Click? I think we do. Them being at 7 means that, like, the options they have are severely limited. What is this? Burst Lightning Kicked. It's to my face? Well. Is it 4? I think I'd rather not go to 4. They have literally exactly Lightning Bolt. I guess I am dead here. Otherwise, they're dead? Okay. Seems like I win. But I'm expecting the Desperation attack, assuming that I block bad. Okay, no, this is just redraw off the Bomat Courier. But we are blocking here. We're going to block with all of these as well. Please exile 10 of your cards. Sure. Face down card enters the exile zone. Alright, well, we don't get to see what the 10 cards they exiled are. It's pretty funny that we did get to exile 10 cards there, because then they're just dead to combat damage and to that. This is a very annoying matchup for me to deal with. We've faced 2 aggro decks in a row. We're going to bring in this, cut this, bring in Prismari Command. Are we supposed to bring in Keranos? I think we are. I think it might just be better than, like, Jace. Drown in the Lock also seems like it's going to be good. Archmage's Charm is fine, but not great. Glorybringer, probably better than some kind of big stupid thing we have. Probably better than Force of Negation. My opponent has disconnected. Okay, well, that happens when you're sideboarding. Just a consequence of Magic, unfortunately. Take Opt Out or Serum Visions out. I think Serum Visions is slightly worse than Opt for us specifically. We take out 1 island, put in 1 mountain. Actually, we took out the triple blue card, so maybe a 2nd island, add in another mountain. We have 18 lands still? What's going on? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe the Void Walker's a bit bad. Doesn't seem like it was great. And then Brawl. Brawl seemed like it was much better. Blocks 2 1s all day. Subtlety. Yeah, I think we just play like this. Alright, here we go. So far, across the last 10 matches, well, no, 10 games or so I've played, I've been on the draw every single time. We have decent mana, we have a Remove Soul. It's not great. Like, what am I hoping for on the mull? So, whatever. I think we're just going to start with Polluted Delta, go get our tap land. Alright, well, no turn 1 plays fine by me. Ooh, that's pretty cool. So, now we have a decision to make. We're going to play the Polluted Delta. If they play something that I think I need to kill, I will just Fatal Push it. Oh, Porcelain Legionnaire, huh? Yeah, we are going to kill that, aren't we? Unfortunately, I have to kill it. Yes, please. Right out of the sky. Or right off the ground, rather. Play out the tar pit past turn. Sad that we don't get the remove soul, but, like, I don't know. Maybe this won't be such a beating. Squee. Well, that is a beating. We were wrong. We messed up, and now we're gone. Wow, 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 wow. Well, we can try to Brazen Bar or block it, which I think is unfortunately our best bet here. Or we can go to combat. Yeah, I think that's an okay option. If they want to just replay it this turn, that's fine. We just need some time, and this buys us a little bit of time. Of course, there are whammies they can play here for 4. Yeah, more Planeswalkers is not really what I was hoping to see. Drown in the Lock. They have one thing in the graveyard here. So I can Force Spike something. No, I can counter a 1 mana cost spell, which is much, much worse than Force Spike. Well, not great, not great. Yeah. Yeah, we are going to do it. Like, whatever. We don't really have too many options, do we? Bink. Alright, what do they have? -8. It's already at 6. It's kind of rough. They have a way to kill it. Oh, no, Dismember. Yeah, fair enough. Get in for 3 here. Yeah. Yeah. They have a Squee again next turn. Not great for me, not great for me. We do have Drown in the Lock, though. We have Ice, but no Fire. Little tedious, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to... I don't even know what we're going to do this turn. Feels like nothing's very good. They're just going to make a monk. Yeah. Makes sense. So we can't block a Squee. No, that's... Oh my god. Chandra again? Yeah. Don't really like that. What are we doing about this? We do have 3 cards in the graveyard now, so we can Drown in the Lock. Oh, it's a creature? Oh, it's in their graveyard. Christ, this is awful. Well, now what? Don't really think we can do anything about it, so we won't. Whatever they want to do here, we have to just be okay with it. What are they using the mana on? Bloodthirsty Adversary. Well, that's a card I think I have to remove Soul. Bink. It only hits creatures too. A little unfortunate. We will ice. Do draw a card here. Take another 3. Even like Damnation doesn't get us there here. Like we just are on the draw every game. It's too slow. Like, yeah, doesn't really feel like this game's winnable. Not really interested in trying, to be honest. Just gonna go to sideboard, look at all of our cards and say, well, if we get to play them, they're great. And if we don't get to play them, they're really bad. On the play, most of these cards get much better. I think Kess was one of the standouts from last game. It just wasn't good against specifically Eidolon. They don't seem like they have a terrible amount of removal. Our mana situation is okay. Consecrated Sphinx might be a bit underpowered. We have a lot of ways that we can kind of take over the game if we just can stabilize. Subtlety is fine. Just need to be able to cast it. Was it better than? Probably better than Venser, to be honest. Yeah, creature or planeswalker. Yeah, I like that. We would love to play first, and we have a hand that has 1, 2, 3 lands, a potential removal spell, and some stuff to do. We have a Mull in Glorybringer, but we can probably find a way to make it work, or at least pitch it to something. We have Jace, if nothing else. Alrighty, well. No, turn 1 is fine by me. Drown Catacombs. Yeah. We don't control an island or a swamp yet, so can't really cast that yet. What's this? Karizev, huh? I'm just gonna petty theft that. Just to get on the board while the getting's good. Play this past turn again. Next turn we have Subtlety on deck, which is very good. Karizev again, true. Darkslick Shores, not really what I'm looking for here. You can also just block with a Creeping Tar Pit on the Ragavan if nothing else, if it seems like we need to. Don't think it is. Seems more like a Subtlety kind of turn to me. Also ties up the damage race quite nicely as a 3/3 flyer. So, kind of hard to lose this turn. Question is, where are they going to play? That's what really decides what's going to happen. What you got? Again? Good golly. What's it say? Top or bottom of their library? Yeah, sure. We're just going to cast it. Put it wherever you want it, buddy. Jaya not really at its best against the Brazen Borrower anyway, but you know, we're going to take the value where we can get it. So if we play out this week, well, actually Drown Unlock doesn't do anything anyway, so we're just going to play this, go to combat, attack here. Maybe a little bit greedy, but I don't think it's too greedy. I think it's okay. Like the biggest whammy here would be like Squee. Goblin Guide, sure. Okay. Mutavault, sure. We supposed to do this? Yeah, we're gonna see if we get a land here at least. Vendilion Click, huh? Are we supposed to block the Goblin Guide or the Mutavault? I think we're supposed to Drown in the Lock the Mutavault. take some damage. Only down by 2 in the damage race here. We also get possibly some extra value out of... Oh no, they have that again? Jesus, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Vendilion Click's not really what I'm hoping for. But now we have 6 mana, so we can play out both of these. If we think we need to. Well, what spells get us here? That doesn't really hold back anything, does it? We can block the Mutavault, or rather the Porcelain Legionnaire, pretty well, so I think we're going to hold back here. We have a counterspell, we have some stuff. We even have a Creeping Tar Pit. Thundermaw Hellkite, huh? Well. It's not a really good one for me to see, is it? Yeah. We can kill that, fortunately. But then we're kind of running low on things that are good for us here. They're not going to attack with a Goblin Guide? I'd be very happy if that were the case. Okay, sure. Guess it doesn't really matter. We're going to click ourselves here. We're pretty far off from having the Glorybringer do work. We're going to look at our own hand and get the Glorybringer out of here. Flame Slash. Okay, yeah, alright. Then we're going to just trade for the Thundermaw. Yep. Take a shitload of damage. Counterspell's what I have on top. That's just miserable. It doesn't do anything. So, are we dead here? Not necessarily. Actually, yes, we are dead here. No, we're not dead. We just have a really shitty block lined up. Yeah. Okay. Do what you gotta do, Oppo. Maybe we should have mulled. Damn. Didn't hit any of our red mana. Didn't hit any of our removal spells besides Drown in the Lock, which was a... Yeah, well, we have to counter that, so we will. They knew that card was there. If they have another one, I'm dead to that. I mean, nothing I can do about it. Alright, well... Waiting on my opponent here. If they have it, they have it. Well, they've decided to stop slow rolling and to attack. Yep. Do we get any value now? Or is it just Goblin Guide for free? Infernal Grasp. That's just a dead card. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. That card doesn't do anything for me. Well, unfortunately, a 1-2 in that one. I guess we should have mulled. Like, already on the play, going to 6 didn't seem like a great proposition. Also didn't really draw the board wipe on any turn we needed it, which was admittedly many turns. But they also just drew the Planeswalkers every game. They drew Jaya literally all 3 games. which is a pretty great card against me. Well, we have managed to win a die roll, so we're going to take the play. We have a blue, we have a black, we have a mulligan, we have another mulligan, and we have another mulligan. We have an opt, and I think opt is good, but I don't know how good. Keeping this is very greedy. I think we have to mull. This is much better, and we're just going to put the cast on the bottom and be happy with our lives. Yep. And we're just going to play out a, I don't know, Drown Catacombs? Pass turn. Elves. Yeah, fine with that. This is the kind of matchup that I can win for sure. Fortunately, don't really have a lot of ways to interact with planeswalkers. We can bounce one if we need to. Gilded Goose, yeah. They can make a jillion creatures if they want to. I just need a 4th land here and we can damnation these things away if we think we need to. Also have a Force of Negation that can also help us deal with planeswalkers and pesky things like that. Question is now, what else do they have going on? They have potentially 4 mana this turn. I guess, okay, 5 mana maybe? Alright. Jaya. Yeah, not really fond of Jaya, so kind of tired of seeing this card. No thanks. Triome? Yeah, we'll play it for sure. Pass turn. Now we just have the Brazen Borrower to kind of hold up, I guess. See if they have more planeswalkers. Deep Forest Hermit. Yeah, not really threatened by that when we can just untap and kill everything. Get a 3 for 1. Not very excited, but geez, missing 1 lands even more, huh? We can also just take their Gilded Goose. It's kind of funny, but I think I'm just supposed to damnation here. So they have a good turn here to give a nice follow-up on board, but hopefully no major whammies. Questing Beast. That's a major whammy. Alrighty, fair enough, I guess. Deals 2 to something. Alright, well, we can play out the Voidwalker. We can tap it and draw a card, I guess. Or we can Brazen Borrower it away. Roast. Yeah. Roast is good. Just gonna tap it, draw a card. I think we're supposed to just bounce it. Bink. Get out of here. Sheesh. Okay. Oh wait, that was main phase. Whoopsie. Meant to do that at beginning of combat. Look at me, just taking 4 for no reason here. Inquisition. Yeah, we're gonna cast it. I mean, ain't doing much else. Proving Grounds. Yeah. We could take another 4 to draw some cards. Or we can counter whatever this is. It's another option. Oh yeah, sure. Cycle. Yeah, I mean, what else am I doing? Alright, well, unfortunately it is very bad at, very good at killing Ashiok, so deals a lot of damage that way. We can Jace and reset it, but it just comes back down, attacks us, and kills the Jace. Kind of the optimal card to be playing against me right here. Pretty unfortunate. What are we supposed to do? They have a card in their hand still? I mean, if they play out the cards in their hand, we can get them with the Ashiok. I think our answer this turn is just draw 2 with Archmage Charm. What is this? Cycle another Triome. Okay. Like, they can't know that we have the Ashiok. It's not like we're streaming this. That is very tedious. I think we have to counter it, sadly. It's the annoying part. I could just cast it back from the graveyard, though. That's the problem. They just get it again. Jesus, this is a beating of a matchup for me. They still have a card in hand that they're not going to play this turn. We take, what, 7? We can draw exactly removal spell. We do not. And we just go to 4. Alright, well, Sulfur Falls is a card that comes in tapped. Alright, yeah, fair. No, wait, it doesn't, because we have a Catria Triumph. Yeah. So, problem is, we take 4 from this anyway. There's no combination of 2 plays we can do besides Brazen Borrowers, as well as a Stone Coil for 1. Also just dies to whatever the last card in their hand is, which they keep holding in their hand for some reason. I guess specifically to play around this one card in the format. Alright, well, Ashiok and Jace are just so awful here against specifically this exact card. Consecrated Sphinx means I'm just dead. So we could play the Stone Coil for 3, play out the Brazen Borrower for 3. Yeah, seems like what we kind of have to do. And if they have removal spell, they have removal spell. Not really anything I can do about that, so I won't. Gain 3 life, yeah. Is it another whammy? Yep. Redraw. Redraw that has board presence, the best kind. Redraw that has even more board presence. Well, they can't cast either of those. Never mind. They can draw 4 cards. They can go through like 8 cards this turn, I guess, whatever. Until the end of your next turn? Alright, so yeah, we're just kind of fucked here. Alright. Understandable. Yeah. We already played out the Damnation. We're just showing them extra cards here, basically. Oh, it can only... Yeah, whatever. We're just fucking dead. Yeah, it's cool. Brazen Borrowers can only block creatures with flying. Alright, well, I mean, sometimes your opponent just has all the things. And that game they did. Very, very good answers to everything I did. Subtlety's good. Fire Ice is good if we can ever cast it, which seems like we never can. Take out Voidwalker, take out Inquisition. Damnation will keep. Ashiok was bad against one of the things they had. Jace was worse against everything they had. Got a black source. Got a blue source. Add in 2 more basic mountains. No. Yes, yes. And then add in Flame Slash. Take out Ancestral. Bring in Glorybringer, maybe? How many red sources do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like to pump it up to 7. Take out this, bring in this, add in a basic. No. There. Just need more removal, more ways to interact with what my opponent's doing. Seems like those are all fine ways to do it. Still have ways to interact with planeswalkers and stuff. Well, this isn't a very good hand, but keep it. We have mana, at least. We have an Island Mountain. Alright, well, my opponent's on the think about it plan. All of our hands have looked kind of clunky. Never really been a super duper amazing one. Probably just gonna go get basic Island with this Polluted Delta. Yep. Literally might be the best one drop in their deck. Not really anything I can do about it though, so I won't. Visionary, yeah. Don't miss on lands. Never do that. Alright, yeah, we're gonna go get a blue. Problem is they can play out a Jaya next turn. So I have to keep up the counterspell. Can't really afford to Flame Slash or Serum Visions here. And if they play a Jaya, I'm just fucked. I just can't do anything about it. Control's just bad against those. Alright, well, whatever they're thinking about. Thrun can't be countered. Hexproof. Yeah. Cool. Nice sideboard card. This card is so mediocre. Even regenerates. Alright, yeah. Now, I mean, I would like to opt, but I'm in the same situation I was last turn. Just gonna Flame Slash this. Pass turn, take 5. Yeah. Okay, I mean, sure. What's the BBE hitting? Elvish Mystic. Yeah, Alright, well, my opponent's played basically a impossible to deal with thing every turn for the last several turns here. Put Keranos on the bottom because it doesn't do anything. Just behind. Well, we can't. Well, no, we can cast this. So we're gonna Serum Visions. This can cast us a thing. Wait, hold on, undo? Undo. Can we undo that? Okay, I don't want to put that on the bottom. Whatever, or on top, rather. Whatever, fine. Yeah, we're just gonna cast it, I mean, not really anything else to do here. No preamble. Just bing. They can untap and play some monstrous thing if they want to. Siege Gang, yeah. What you got, Hubbo? I would love to draw 2 cards. Thank you for asking. Subtlety. That's cool. Yeah. Not at all upset about that one. Pretty happy to see it. Well, we already drew 2 cards here, so if they'd like to spend 1 billion mana to kill this, that's fine with me. They would not. They just want to do that. That's fine. I mean, Roast doesn't kill it. Jade Light Ranger. That's fine. A-okay with that. Rabble Master. Do they want to keep it on top or on the bottom? They would like to keep it on top. Hex Drinker. That's a bit of an annoying card, isn't it? Protection from instants. We not expand this card? Protection from instants if it has 3 counters. Well, it's not going to get to 3 counters, so fine with that. Sure. Sure. Well, that's a pretty good one. Play out the Sulphur Falls. Play out the Glory Bringer. Attack and exert. Bink that thing off the ground there. Pass turn, draw some cards, leave up my stuff. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Rabble Master, huh? Well, admittedly, I don't want that to resolve. So I am going to try to counterspell it. Means we're going to take some damage on the ground. They just concede. Okay. Alright, well, now the ball's in my court. Again, I'm on the draw. They have a lot of very difficult to deal with stuff. Planeswalkers are just really bad. Gonna take out the Ashiok. Conscripts. Can we make conscripts work somehow? Don't really know what it's doing for me. Click has seemed kind of bad. Brawl seems like it's fine, makes our spells a little cheaper. Dungeon Geist is actually pretty okay, but it's a little too expensive for me. Murktide Regent does have Delve. It's not awful, but it's a little expensive. We'll just run it like this. They're going to take the play. This one's for all the marbles, and we have a no lander here, so we're going to mull. 2 lands, neither of which is very good, and we're on the draw anyway. Jesus. Guess we're going to 5. 3 lands, and we have, yeah, put this on the bottom and put, I don't even know, this on the bottom? Yeah. course, my opponent's on the play with a full 7. Of course, why would they ever mull? Elvish Mystic, yeah. Might get some airtime out of this fire. That'd be nice. Definitely wouldn't be mad at that. Or some value out of it, rather. What you got? Ooh, perfect. Nice. We're going to kill the Hierarch and the Elvish Mystic, I think. Try them for sure. I think we're just going to do this main phase as well. No reason to bury the lead. Just get the full value immediately. 0 questions asked. Control 2 or fewer other lands. So it can come in on tap next turn. Don't have anything double red we want to cast next turn. Red, blue, fire, 1 here, 1 here. Yeah. Feels pretty good. Okay. Harmonize. Okay, yeah, fair enough. They did play a land there. Yeah, we're gonna play out this, and I think we're just going to Vendilion click them on their draw step. Don't have any counter spells, so yep. What you got? Well. I think it's basic forest, so we can kill it. Phoenix of Ash. Have to escape it, but it can't. It's also double red. They don't have double red. That one's actually kind of annoying. Flame Slash. I think we're just supposed to take the Alana. Yeah. Let's take the Alana. They do nothing this turn. Play out a Nissa? Yeah, I'm not really afraid of Nissa. Wow. They just find a basic mountain? Really? Where did they get the basic mountain from? Did I miss something? What the fuck was that? I have to look through my replay because they did not have a basic mountain. Like, I'm staring at it, and I did it on their draw step specifically so that they wouldn't. Look, there's some fuckery going on there. I don't know what's up with that. Is that 4 cards? Not this one. Oh, it's the card they drew off the Vendilion click, obviously. Alright, well. Now we just pass. I have to have 7 or more lands for this to do anything. Okay, so this is a good turn for us. We get to block the Nissa and bounce the Elvish Mystic. Yeah, we're okay with blocking. Thrun? Oh, come on. Jesus, they just keep drawing persistently the best cards they could possibly draw. And now we don't have a 5th land. Pretty rough. Now we just have to pass. Not really what I'm happy about. This escapes for 3 cards and they have 5 in their graveyard? Just a billion? Okay, fair enough, I guess. Can we find a way to squeak out a victory here? How do you theft that back? Take 4, go to 12. We can find something. We need something here. More stuff. Okay, fair enough. Do we Infernal that? Can't imagine they need the mana that much. Nope. Drowned Catacombs comes in untapped. We can play out the Glory Bringer. Problem is we take another 7 on the crackback. They can't pump it. It's the good news. So it can hold back everything except the Thrun. They use their Flame Slash, so Flame Slash gone, that's gone. One Forest is gone. They have Proving... No, they don't have the Proving Ground, so they have 3 unknowns in hand, functionally. Just close that. Wow. Pretty good top decks from the opponent. Wow, really? A squee? Really? Come on. I need my opponent to stop just drawing the same exact cards every game. The Hierarch, the Harmonize, Bloodbraid Elf, Squee. Alright, well, we can block the... God even knows what we're supposed to block here. I think we're supposed to block the Squee, make them choose between what they're gonna do next turn. Take a billion, go to 3. Prismari command. Could deal 2 to the Bloodbraid Elf, make a treasure. Please play a Squee from the graveyard next turn and we're dead though. Not ideal, we just can't deal with Thrun. Like, they just have the perfect sideboard card to play against me. Yeah, we're gonna kill that, do some drawing and discarding. See what we got. Well, pitch of those. Who am I kidding? We don't have outs here. Alright, well, that was not really the most exciting, was it? Pretty anticlimactic at the end. My opponent just kept drawing insane 2-for-1s that added to the board very, very, very well. I hope you got something out of this, because all I got was 50 play points. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been watching Robot Rallis. Please feel free to leave a like, possibly comment, or subscribe. Till next time.